a esta lección de español sobre los verbos en el pretérito. Welcome to this lesson about the verbs in the preterite. At this point, you have learned how to conjugate verbs to describe or narrate what is happening in the present tense. And now it is time that we learn how to describe events that already happened. Primero recuerda, first remember, that in español we have three different types of verbs according to their endings: AR, ER, and IR. También, we have learned that some verbs can be reflexive, and you can identify them by that reflexive pronoun that is attached at the end of the verb in the infinitive form. Aquí hay unos ejemplos: llamarse, ponerse, vestirse. Now, whether the verb is reflexive or not, the conjugation of verbs always consists of changing the ending of the verbs according to the subject. Here we can see the endings used when conjugating the verbs in the present tense. This is the set of endings for AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. What I need to do is to eliminate the ending from the infinitive form of the verb. As you can see here, the verb comer, that means to eat, has a red line over the ER, indicating that I need to eliminate that ER and replace it with the ending that corresponds to the subject. Por ejemplo, for yo, say yo como. For tú, say tú comes, etc. ¿Ves aquí la palabra apuntes? Apuntes means notes. I strongly recommend that when you see this icon, you take notes of the information presented. In order to conjugate verbs in the preterite form, to narrate in the past tense, we eliminate the ending of the infinitive verb, AR, ER, IR, just like we do it for the present tense. Then we are going to replace this ending with the proper ending according to the subject. This is a new set of endings that we need to learn. Here are the endings for AR verbs: haste, o, amos, hasteis, Aaron. Notice the accent marks. Now, good news. Buenas noticias. In the preterite ER and IR verbs, they have the same group of endings: iste, yo, imos, isteis, ieron. Por ejemplo, en el caso del verbo comer, yo comí, tú comiste, etc. We have now our new set of endings to conjugate the verbs in the preterite form. Remember that we are describing past events now. So, let's conjugate these verbs together. Pay attention to that pronunciation. For the verb estudiar, repetir por favor. Yo estudié, tú estudiaste, usted, él, ella estudió. Nosotros estudiamos, vosotros estudiasteis, ustedes, ellos, ellas estudiaron. Notice that none of the plural forms have accent marks. For comer, we have the endings y, iste, yo, imos, isteis, ieron. Repetir, por favor. Yo comí, I ate. Tú comiste, él comió. Nosotros comimos, vosotros comisteis, ellos comieron. Y ahora el verbo escribir. As we mentioned before, IR verbs have the same endings as the ER verbs when we conjugate in the preterite tense. Repetir, por favor. Yo escribí, tú escribiste, él escribió, nosotros escribimos, vosotros escribisteis y ellos escribieron. As you advance in your Spanish studies, you will learn that there are some grammar variations when narrating past events in Espanol, and that providing context is fundamental to understand the narration better. Here is a list of expressions that are commonly used in the preterite. Vamos a practicar la pronunciación de estas expresiones. Repetir, por favor. Anoche, anteayer, ayer, de repente, desde, hasta, pasado, el año pasado, la semana pasada, una vez, dos veces, ya. Ahora, now you can pause the video and write down this list.